Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome. The post-lunch and the final session of the fourth AISTA Sugar and Ethanol Conclave 2022. I think this is going to be one of the best sessions. And I hand you over to Manisha G. Gupta, who is going to take on 10 men and their brains. Yeah, give her a big round of applause.
Thank you so much, and I know we have a time pressure. We will try and wind it up and not waste questions. Prices is what we are going to talk about. I was having a conversation, and there's only sugar, as has been said by Mr. Chatterjee also in his earlier presentation, that only sugar hasn't risen. Everything else is up between 25 to 125% in case of many food prices, but sugar is just a meager 6% higher. We will try and decipher on why, one, that is the case, and two, how is the industry now looking forward to the sugar prices going forward. We know there is a minimum selling price, but the maximum selling price can be much higher, but that clearly has not been the case in sugar. Why is that, Mr. Chaturvedi?
You cornered me right in the beginning.
You sat next to me.
That was to shine in reflected glory. I think the joker in the pack this year is India, and big time India. Probably beginning of the year, nobody expected India to be exporting something like maybe 8, 9 or 10 even million tons. And the Maharashtra production this year has probably confounded everyone. The year started with India being talked about at 31 million tons. And now we are talking in terms of a crop size of almost 39 to 40 million tons. So this has probably kept a lid on the world prices. In spite of the frost story, in spite of the drought story in Brazil, all these things put together have not affected the supply side or the demand side scenario. But one thing which I would like to tell is probably Brazil may no longer be the price maker or the big swing factor. It probably is India now. So India's mojo is back.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this question answer in 2 rounds. One is on why are we here and the reason for that. And then, of course, we'll do a quick round of the price forecast from my panelists. Mr. Tamak, what's your sense on why are we where we are? What factors हैं, क्या fundamentals हैं? Why do you see the prices here?
I shall be focusing a little bit on the crop production and what is the likely production outlook of India, because that is also a major factor as far as prices are concerned. So 3-4 factors impact the crop production. One, cash flow. Cash flow is to the farmers is very good because the payment situation in the country is very good in majority part of the country. This is one thing. Secondly, in terms of alternate to other crops, sugarcane cultivation is the most competitive and most remunerative cropping pattern in comparison to other crops. So there is an inclination of growers to grow more sugarcane. Third, IMD has predicted that rainfall will be normal this year. So all these 3 factors make sugarcane cultivation an attractive crop, and production outlook should be stable, almost nearing this year. So this is the, and of course there are other market experts which can certainly have a better scenario of what is the global scenario. They can touch upon that subject. Thank you.
You know, one good thing about sugars, and this perhaps is the only sector where we have different things to talk about 5 years down the line, because a lot of pain points clearly have been taken away. Mr. Naik-Navre, what are the pain points right now, and how do you see sugar as an industry as it stands?
Thank you, Manisha. Actually, I look at it price from 2 different angles. When you say price, especially in India, we talk of ex-mill price. Ex-mill is excluding GST, transport, all the brokerage, commission, everything. The simple formula which I am seeing, I am associated with this industry for more than 22 years now. I have seen there is a thumb rule here. The consumer price minus 7 rupees is ex-mill price. And that has been there. It was 6 rupees some time back. When GST came up, it became 7. And in my opinion, sitting in Delhi, I mean, government is sitting here, but still I would like to share this. Government is comfortable at 44 rupees, consumer price. So if you subtract 7 rupees from 44, still we are very much within the bracket. That's about the domestic. Now, talking of international prices, I think this year it's going to be a little dicey because the price is going beyond 20 cents per pound, and the white sugar hovering around $5.40, $5.35 per ton will be misleading us because lot of factors are going to yet to be unfolded. That's my take on this.
Mr. Naik Navre, you said that government is very comfortable with 44 rupees. That is where we are.
Retail price, consumer price.
Yes, this is only the sector perhaps which is so obedient because government is not comfortable with cotton, wheat, edible oil, anything.
Yes, I know.
Is the sector obedient?
Well, sugar has been very sensitive, and they are very keeping much watch on the sugar. I don't know why. Even at the end of 22 years of my career, I'm still finding an answer to this question. Why only sugar? When you talk of consumer price, why it is so sensitive? Why it is so emotional about sugar? When the edible oil and other prices go up and down. But the moment sugar prices touch above 40, there was a time, Manisha, that if the retail price goes above 40, in Marathi there used to be Sakar Kadadli, Sakar Mahagli, Sakar Petli, you know, all those newspaper headlines used to be there, saying that sugar is on fire. But fortunately now that mindset is gone from 40 to 44, and still X-mill price hovering around 32 for S grade and 34, 35 for M grade. I think we are in a comfort zone.
Oh, all right. Surplus. So, you know, Sanjay ji, this one is to you, and hope we are not jinxing it here because 3 years ago I was talking to Mr. Chaturvedi and he said edible oil is a very slack business. 10 saal mein kuch hua hi nahi hai. And the last 2 years clearly has been a roller coaster. But what is your sense? How do you see the industry and what's your sense on the prices?
I think so far as the sugar industry is concerned, I'll just take a point on which Prakash ended. You know, why the government wants to be so focused on sugar so as it not to go beyond 44 rupees. I think it's fundamentally because the government wants to be very sweet with the people of this country. So they cannot afford to have a bitter taste with the population of this country. Having said that, see, I feel the type of acreage that we are seeing over the last 2 years, this year, and the figures that we have tried to ascertain from the industry for the next year, all in all, it seems the area is going to keep on increasing. Now, on the price front, why have been we so very comfortable this year is largely, it's not that, you know, as you rightly said, the inflation is not beyond 6%. Now, that has fundamentally happened because I believe the trade associations and the trade bodies, they have better intelligence systems in terms of ascertaining what the crop size is. So I think fundamentally the trade associations were very sure as to what is going to be the crop size this year than what has been projected either by the government or the associations like us or the independent mills. So to that extent, I think their intelligence systems have been strong enough to know that they don't need to take large amount of stocks into their warehouses. So I think that is one reason why the stocks have remained with the mills, and that is one of the reasons why the sugar prices have not really seen a big hike. To couple to that, right from day one, most of our trade sugar body associations have been focusing on the mills to ensure that they keep on exporting and they keep on selling, because liquidity is a huge problem which creates issues about FRP. So right from day one, we have been insistent with the mills, please ensure that your liquidity in place. So there was never a situation where the mills did not try to sell or that the traders tried to overbuy it. So I think all in all, the price has remained at this level largely because of these two factors.
Anup, what's your take? How do you look at the markets? And, you know, even as we've seen the sugar stocks run up so much, the sugar prices haven't. So the underlying commodity hasn't performed as well as perhaps the equity markets. That point aside, the ethanol story is so big, but that also doesn't seem to be supporting sugar prices.
So I think I obviously dispute that, because if we go year on year, last year UP at this time was 32.5, 33. Today UP is well above 33, 35,500. Maharashtra last year in June we shorted an Andhra tender at 31,200, and we ended up covering losing like massive amount of money in July, August. So I think the pop is around the corner. Anyone who believes that sugar prices are not going to cross, are not going to rise 3 rupees from where they are, is going to be very sadly mistaken. Everyone in the industry is long sugar. There is no one who can dare to be a short today. And I think the biggest fear that I have, honestly, is that, we are focusing too much on the fact that we have not gone up in relation to something else. We are an industry in our own right. So we have to see how high we can go. And I think the issue that I have, the other issue which if I take another minute, is that the prices will rise because the supply will run low. The prices will not rise because wheat is running high. Prices will rise because some sugar will run out or will go low. And I think that will force the hands of some policymakers, which we don't want.
Rahil, how do you look at the market? And just take it away from what Anup said. There were these huge rumors, and of course, it was disarrayed that no, there may not be any restrictions coming in on exports. But when he says that the supplies could run low, there could be that scenario coming forward. How do you look at that too?
I think, you see, we have exported around 7.5 million tons by the end of April. We probably still have 2.5 million more to go till the time we are in the comfort zone of the government. Because the next year production is also big. So if the next year production would have been smaller, then the scare situation would have come in today. But the government knows that the next year, without diversion into ethanol, we shall be producing about 40.5 million ton to 41 million ton of sugar. So if you minus 5 million out of that, you still have 35 to come. And if you consume around 27.5, you have back again 8.5 million to give to the world. So in my opinion, I think the policy makers and the way it should be is that it should continue. We may see a small bit of sunset clause at certain point of time, but that's not a shutdown of a window. Probably a mechanism where you continue to do your contracts. Because you remember that next year when you come back on 1st of October crushing, and if you don't have contracts in hand because of any kind of decision, then we are in a bigger trouble than you are calling for today. So technically, I feel the government is in the comfort zone today, and the good comfort zone is that domestic prices are soft, and domestic prices will continue to remain between 31 and 33 or 32 and 35 range, which is not bad. And we should continue to see that government supporting the export program. If we don't do that, and we don't forward contracts now, then we have a greater problem to come in, rather than thinking about what's going to happen today.
Okay, so we have thought process of what my left is thinking. We will of course come to you quickly later as well to get an understanding of what the international prices and the Indian prices can be. But Mr. Vitlani, let's start with you here then. The input costs have gone up. That is for each commodity, whether it is labor, fertilizer, energy, transportation, logistics. We've spoken about that. Is all of that in price?
So you are asking for the import cost which has gone up.
Input cost for sugar as an industry.
Yeah, the production cost is going up for the sugar, correct? No? See, I will tell you, first of all, we wish that FRP cost should be definitely be linked with MSP. That 31 rupees, last year there was FRP rise. And after FRP rise, still government has not increased the MSP. So, first of all, to say that now it will be linked with the MSP and allowed for farmers, and that is also when the farmers are getting 40% more revenue than what in Brazil the farmers are getting. So it is our very request to the government to look at MSP, that how this can be changed. You see, yesterday in my speech I have said that my dream is to make sugar industry a software industry, what they have success. And for that I have in front of government put 2 points. One is the FRP of 85-15. 85 you go traditionally what you are going, 15% should be there for the export portion. And that should be linked with the international what farmers are getting. So at least that 15% exports goes, so that makes a difference. And second, the Gujarat model, to be over here, instead of 15 days to pay payment to farmers, it should be in 3 installments. Since you are asking everybody, first of all, I have to take some work of organization leave from here. So before that, I am small giving my price outlook that after 15th of July this year, or maybe latest by 1st of August, till 15th of October, I am looking ex-mill price of Maharashtra 35 plus. Okay? And I don't wish that it go 37, 38, that the industry being kicked up by other, other race rules and regulations. This is my personal. And secondly, it's my request to have a discussion that in the beginning of the season, 30.45 or 4 was the projection. Of course, हमको तो कोई बोलते हैं डूब मरो, भाई डूब मर गए, क्या भैया 20% की गलती कहाँ से चलेगी? तो 20% ऑफ एरर, इट्स लाइक सच्ची में यही है कि वो ढक्कन में डूब मरो पानी की बोतल में, ठीक है? सो हाउ वी कैन चेंज our projections, where we have gone wrong, and how can we correct ourselves?
Why don't you answer that before you go?
Yeah, so this is, if we can give their inputs, will be better. And with excuse with everyone, there is some organization things, so I have to leave. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Ravi, you know where to take it from.
So, 2 things, of course, the input cost have definitely moved up. Steam costs have gone up. Everything has gone up. And so, resultantly, the sugar processing cost. As such, sugar industry, sugar prices in particular, if that question is related to that, we have been linear for too long. The prices have been hovering in the range of 31, 33, 34. I think we should allow prices gradually to go up. Otherwise, what happens is, if year on year you are on linear on the prices, you make consumers so comfortable that when suddenly a need of price rise comes, everybody starts making noise. I think it is a high time we should allow the sugar prices to move up in line with the input cost and in line with the world market realities. Frankly speaking, I do not want to forecast the sugar prices will go to 35 or 37. I don't have that much of knowledge and a crystal ball to decide that. But I definitely believe that the sugar prices will be what the government wants it to be. Why I'm saying that, when you have enough sugar in India and you have a system of release mechanism, the government has a way to control the sugar prices, and my forecast of the prices will be what the government would want to be. Last year, my experience of the prices was that government was basically comfortable even at ex-mill price of 38 rupees in UP. I don't think such action came. And when the prices started going up to 40 rupees, then probably there was the extra release suddenly, and the prices after that never goes back. So I'm just giving you an example. But the point which I want to make is that as industry, as everybody who is involved in the industry, every commodity should have its due shares for the prices to move up. Because when it suddenly happens, then it pinches a lot. And I don't want to make it a relative that today edible oil prices are more up, so hame bhi utna increase, so I am not with that camp. But reality of the sugar prices is that it should continue to stay at these level and go a little bit higher. And that is my request to the government also, that for a healthy sugar industry, they should also accept a little higher. I am not saying phenomenal increase the price, but they should allow the prices to move up gradually.
I'll just one more question to you, and this is Mr. Vitlani gave his parting comments about how we went terribly wrong, horribly wrong, in sense of forecasting the crop.
I think the point is very, very. We, and this particularly government in the digital transformation, has used digital technology everywhere. We are missing on that part. And I do not think that it is too difficult. This year, the crop which has gone wrong, which I think is very, very unfortunate, is not because the yields became higher. It's not because the sucrose recovery became higher. It just went wrong because we didn't calculate the area properly. And I think as far as the area registration is concerned, the whole process can be digitized very, very easily. So I'll request the government, even if, we should make the production forecast as precise as possible, rather than taking all the steps together. At least the area registration through NIC, at least can be started immediately, so at least we don't go on the area. And then the next steps come using AI for, calculating cane yields or the sucrose. It can be done into step and step. But area can easily be done. I think we need a national agencies to do that. We do it for every stage, the area registration, and the farmers are supplied to the sugar mills. They are known who they are. So it could be very, very easy, and we should definitely move in that direction.
Hi. When we talk about India, clearly it's become a major player. Market is taking note of the kind of exports that we've done last year and this year as well. But what's your sense also in the international markets? What is the price movement there? Is this 20 cents going to hold around?
Yeah, sure. I probably explained from 6 months ago. If India is this year not able to export 7, 8, or 9 million tons of sugar, the world is in deficit of sugar. So in that sense, the more than expected crop in India has saved the world in terms of sugar supplies. You look at each of the originations, you look at Thailand, you look at Brazil, it's very tight without India. And that's also the reasons, when the price come to around 20 cents, Indians start to export, the world market has been quite fast and easily absorb the export. And that's because the world market is tight, it's relatively tight. Moving forward, we see India has helped the global supply chains to manage the supply side by exporting so much of sugars. Brazil is starting to crush, so theoretically you're going to have the supply coming from Brazil very soon. But this year there's a lot of uncertainties in Brazil as well. Brazil has going through 2 consecutive years of drought. The rainfall has been largely below average. So everyone in this industry, you understand that the ratoon is not in good conditions. So probably you're going to have some distortions from the supply of Brazil as well this year again. And also, our current sugar industry is not only sugar. In Brazil, it's ethanol, it's energy. A lot of those sucrose has been diverted into ethanols because of the crude market. Under a very macroeconomic situations, the crude is at the current levels, 100 USD per barrel or more than that. And with what the wars in Ukraine and Russia, we don't foresee the crude market is a bearish market. So energy market is also bullish. So under this circumstance, you will relatively hard to see a bearish scenarios in sugar market. Maybe it's a bullish, slightly bullish, or range-bound bullish during some period of times. So that's, I think, how we see in next a few months.
So what is the range that you're putting for in the international markets for sugar?
Well, it's $1 million questions, but we will put a few numbers. So a few parities now is helping the sugar market to define the values. So number 1, Brazil ethanol parities, which is currently at 20.5 based on different BRL. So that is the levels. You will be flirting with these levels. And when you come a little bit up, we have our Indians another 1 or 2 million tons of export start to come. So that's another price. So this 20.5 will be in important levels to look at. On the downside, you have this famous China import arb, which is where the Chinese refinery will came. Yeah, they have bought some of sugars at 18.3, 18.5. So there has been price up. So probably the next ones we foresee that below 19 cents they will come again, and they still have to buy. I think that's what we have for now to tell the market. Yeah.
Okay. The thing about being the last speaker on the panel is you've already heard everybody else. So what are your 3 points that you are watching in the sugar market?
So Just to add to what was discussed already, so we have a big bear now, a potential bear in the market, which is Brazil. And I'm telling you why it's a big bear. Because up to now, India controlled the market. From last year in October up to now, and even now, India is controlling the market. If you want Indian sugar, you need to pay a price. They will not sell at 14 cents. Now, the problem is that Brazil has a very low production cost. So with Brazilian real at 5 against the dollar, let's keep it there, they can export sugar and be profitable at about 14 cents, 13.5 cents FOB. For them, there's still a profit. Now, of course, they hedge their positions and everything, so they're at 14 cents now. They don't like it. Ethanol pays better. But we have to look over the, I mean, if you want on the next months, of course, when Brazil comes in and pumps in a lot of volume now, this has a bearish influence, especially on the physical market, right? So more is to come, 2 million tons to be added to the exports. So then now I think, first of all, we might see a pressure on ethanol, domestic ethanol prices in Brazil, because it looks like Petrobras will not move with gasoline forward up due to policy reasons, elections and so on and so forth. So then we will see a pressure on ethanol. Now, if we see a pressure on ethanol, we see where the ethanol parity with sugar will drop. Could it drop to 18? Could it drop to 17? Could it drop to 16 or even below? This we shall see how also demand at the pump reacts, because gasoline is cheaper at the pump than ethanol now in Brazil. So the first pressure will be on ethanol. Secondly, sugar will react, but sugar will react only if there is no demand. China will have to import. We don't know when, and I saw also some vessels already sent from Brazil to China. Even if refineries are at some loss in China, they don't want to lose their automatic import licenses. So this, at a certain moment in time, you will see Chinese demand coming. Will it be like last year? Of course not, because they over-imported last year and 2 years ago. But I think 3 million tons could be there, okay? So from, let's say, July to December, at least 3 million tons will go to China. Now, when they will come, this is another point. I see also bearish pressure on sugar. I think sugar will correct to below 18 cents in the coming months. And then when India starts to shine again and then like come into equation, we have, guys, some raw sugar for you. Already mills are hedging raw sugar. Already they are selling. I heard that 130K of raws have been sold to Iran for Q1. Iran is paying now from Dubai account, so it's not a problem with the payment system. They also imported Brazilian. So whenever India will come into the picture again the prices will be supported, because the world market has to react to the Indian price, right? So, and I don't see it below 19. So 18.8 minimum, the 19, maybe more than this. So I see a correction on the short. It's an opportunity to buy for traders. And then when India will come into the picture, we go back to 19, 20, 20.5. This is how the world looks like now.
So you're saying that we are close to our peak when it comes to the global sugar prices?
And now I think at close to 21, it was opportunity to sell sugar. And then buy back at below 18 cents.
Okay. All right, let's talk prices. One is India will decide where the international prices are, and Indian government will decide where the Indian sugar prices are, is what the cue is from here. So when we talk about the international prices, because Indian prices, actually let's talk both the things. Indian prices, international prices, what is your range?
Before commenting on the prices, let me comment on the crop scenario. In fact, this year, India has gone wrong in practically all major agri crops. Whether it was wheat, government touted it at about 111 million tons to start with, down to about 104 or 105, 106 probably. And the trade is factoring in or penciling in a number of 95 million or below. Similarly, soybean was being talked about at 125 or 12.5 million tons in India. Trade is penciling in less than 10 million tons. sugar is in definitely a sweet spot, not only on account of ethanol, but also on account of higher production. So what used to be a bane in the past has suddenly now become a boon. Coming to the prices, my take is that contrary to what people think that India will be exporting 10 million tons or 11 million tons or whatever, we have not factored in the logistical nightmare staring at us in our faces. And once the rains set in, say in second half of June or early July, you will have problems in terms of exports. So I would probably tend to agree that where we are on the international market, it's going to be something which is going to be range bound. As far as Indian domestic prices are concerned, I can only assure the government that you have such a big talwar in your hand of what Ravi said, of release mechanism. You can definitely control the prices like no other commodity in this country. I hope government had those tools in edible oil, so they could have probably used them big time. So again, domestic sugar will also likely to be range bound. It's not going to go anywhere. And for the sugar sector, the big swing factor is the ethanol play. This year about 3.5 million tons is diverted. Next year could be 4.5. And one factor which the ethanol has done and which we have not taken into our calculations is, it has allowed the factories to have a better cash flow. Earlier you would crush in 5-6 months and then sell, or 4-5 months, and then sell the sugar for about 14 months. So that was a very big pain point. And more so in the cooperative sector, they always were short of funds. So they would liquidate the sugar as soon as possible. Probably no longer now. That is why you see the downward pressure on the prices also limited. Upward is already controlled by the government. So we are talking of Bata price in every damn thing under the sun. Yeah, sorry, there you are.
I am done talking. You have to tell me.
So I should just like to supplement what Atulji has said. See, there is no factor currently, if you see Indian sugar sector, whether it is, I'm just repeating, for cash to the farmers. And this liquidity issue has enabled factories to make timely payment. Leave some exceptions. Otherwise, the sector as a whole has performed very nicely. This is a great booster as far as even sugarcane area and sugarcane productivity as well. Second important element is water availability, particularly in southern part and western part of the country. The water reservoirs are full, and monsoon impact, suppose there is some less rainfall also in Uttar Pradesh, it is not going to impact sugarcane crop adversely because there is enough underground water available over there. So water is available, water is there. And overall sentiment of the sector is also positive, overall sentiment. So factories are also, because higher cane production is helping the sector in utilizing their assets better in terms of integration. More molasses, more ethanol. More bagasse, more cogen. So that is also a positive factor. So there is sugar all around, and Chief Director Sugar is sitting over here. So he has the levers and tools in his hands just to control the prices.
Yeah. Well, instead of making qualitative statements, now I'll have some quantitative statements. In 2 sentences, my own assessment, domestic prices 33, 35, depending upon the grade, S and M. X-mill without GST, without all those expenses. And international prices, 19.5 cents to 20.5 cents. That's the range in which it will be remain. That's my take.
I feel the sugar diversion from C molasses almost stands exhausted. We are at a very minimal level of what can be diverted now from C molasses to B molasses. The whole issue is how do we now go from B molasses to sugarcane juice and syrup. To that extent, I believe there are some small issues of investment And storage of syrup is an issue on which there is some technology coming in. All in all, for the next year, any major diversion in terms of sugar to ethanol will happen only if people shift from B-heavy molasses to sugarcane juice and syrup. That is one. Number two, despite the fact that the meteorological horoscope predicts a very positive monsoon for the next season, a lot would depend on what is the actual rainfall pattern happening in the month of June, July and August. I think that will largely dictate how the prices are really going to move.
Prices? I think the prices will go higher from where they are now. That's all I can say. And I agree with Ravi that price is really is not so much with the miller, it is more on the monthly quota, so it can be regulated. Global market, I really don't have enough information. I mean, we are sort of, it's difficult to say. We don't have the monsoon yet. We don't know how the Brazilian crop will pan out. We have no information right now to say anything.
Nisha, I think more or less the comments are all the same, except for one point which I want to sort of highlight, is that what we miss is still the funds activity. And in agricultural commodity today, sugar continues to be the cheapest one. So on international market, what we have still not budgeted in this discussion is that there is an element of existence of non-existent fund, which is AI, and they will drive basis the rumors. So there are the prices is between 19 to 21 with India, and without India, then fund comes in. So you think the nervousness would be in the market as the rumor pays out. And I think Sir has that chabi. So Shingla Saab has that chabi. But at the end of the day, I mean, I personally feel that funds will play a much larger role than the physical guys like us. And point number two, on Indian pricing, I feel it's balanced. I mean, we have the availability, and with inflation rising, the demand in the month of May, you can feel it's not there. I mean, you can feel that. I mean, a mithai wala shop is not full of people around there. So I think demand will have some factor in as well. And going forward, this trend is going to continue. So I think we have a balance availability. I think it should continue the same range. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, coming back to the international first. Little bit concern which I have is that we have uncertainty in the international market because of weather. Look at Brazil. Whatever your cane numbers may be for the crushing, 550, 560 or 570, we have just crushed 60 million ton of cane in Brazil. So most of the crop is yet to be harvested and crushed. And in between you hear about frost, you hear about weather. Similar weather situation is in India. Our monsoon is not yet made. Thailand, similar situation. EU, we had a news of little bit weather issues, very hot weather, but I don't think it will impact wheat as much. But globally, if you look at, weather is not yet certain and weather is crucial. So the swings in the weather, what it brings to the prices could be very, very fast. On the bottom line, we know where the crude prices are and we know where the ethanol parity is. So ethanol parity in Brazil, even after the subsidized gasoline there, is around 20 cents. So we know the floor level of the prices, which is driven by the ethanol parity, and on top of it, we have uncertainties. So, I mean, we have to keep on watching that uncertainty. That is why the reason which I am giving, that when we know that the longer term crude prices are not going to go down, we should make our consumer in India be ready for the little bit higher prices, which are at least equal to 19 to 20 cent equivalent sugar, so that the one used to the realities which we are looking forward to. So I think that's the comment I have.
Still about price. I think what I would like to address is same as Rahil as well. we need to monitor the funds situations, not only in sugar fundamentals or prices parities. If you look at across the agri-commodities, sugar is relatively less deployed by the funds, by the monies, by the AI, by the machines. If you look at soybean, corn, wheat, cotton, percentage of OIs of the funds has been much higher than sugar. So which means sugar is relatively not on the spot for the funds, but with the overall bullish commodity market trend, you never know when the funds will look at the sugar again and move the price into sugar. And for the other commodities, the price has already reflect the risk. Cotton is heading to the second highest price in the histories. So does wheat, record highs for quite a long time. And also on top of that, we have this economic problems, which is putting uncertainties over overall stock market. So the money from the stock market is huge. As a good hedge, you buy commodities to hedge the inflations. It's a good strategy overall. So from the money flow perspective, you still have some room to probably increase. So yeah, there's a lot of things determine the price. Just need to monitor. Yeah.
The same. I remember a conference that we had in Geneva. It was about like 4 years ago. Funds were starting to add to their long position. And then that time we were at 280,000 long, net long. And then everybody said, okay, they will stop adding to their position. Said, look, there is no limit for adding to the long position. We can go to 400, 450. Somebody laughed. But then, indeed, they added up to 400, almost to 400, and they reached that time record. And for that year, the funds controlled for about 6 months of the year. They had 33% of the open interest in sugar market. 33% is huge. 33% it means that it's only dominated by funds. But what means for the funds? This is not a big deal for them, the sugar market, right? Because sugar market is a small market for them. There's big money in stocks and everywhere. And now we see that stocks are collapsing. And if they continue to collapse further, cryptos are collapsing, whatever. So now this money will be pulled out. And then what do? Okay, you have the opportunity to follow the US government and then gain some interest rates there, but not much, how much you gain. So I think they will further invest in commodities. The fact that they were afraid of sugar and they hesitated to add money into sugar was that it was not such a bullish story for them, right? Because we need to think how the funds think, not how we in the industry think. We see the S&D, they look roughly like at the S&D for the following year, and then they look at the daily movement of prices, okay? And they have daily averages, 40 days averages, 100 algorithms, everything is involved. And then practically in the sugar market, these parameters, technical parameters, they didn't manage to break the limits that other markets broke. Otherwise, they will be here and we will trade at 28 cents, right? There's no problem with that. We've seen sugar market going above 31 cents above in 2010 when Brazil had a problem, right? But what would if India will have a problem now? Because we said that for a certain period of time, India is the new Brazil, right? So it will depend. It's very hard to forecast the price. I'm saying that if funds are entering and they really believe in their sky is the limit, right? So, and in times of war, we've seen, if you follow the market, we've seen the expiry in New York, we've seen the expiry in London, and we've seen how people got bullish in the expiry. Why? Because at times of war, it's good to get long commodities.
And we've seen that.
Yes.
Okay, since you are with us, Mr. Vitlani, why don't you take the final last question? What is your sense on prices for sugar going forward?
you know, I have done a mischief once with you on your CNBC hours. And you asked me that what do you think कि ये अगले साल कितना प्रोडक्शन होगा? तो मैंने आपको जवाब दिया था, I don't want to judge the age of any lady. Now, after everybody is kicking me off 20% of mistake, you are again asking me the same question. So what I predicted is...
But the point is you always answer.
So I personally feel that 31 price, rupees 31 X mil price is the bottom of India for next 3 years, number one. I don't look below 31 till 2023 end. Okay. Any country, if there, it could be Brazil, it could be India. Any country, see, I am there in 44 years of experience. I have seen that one season gets washed. To recover, it takes 3 years. So the Brazil 21, then 22, then 23. So they will be back in 24. This is what my experience says. Rest, disclaimer, I already said.
All right. I think with that, that is all the time that we have on this panel. And yes, please.
My God, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is one of the best panels of the entire 3 days. I was so excited. I listened to each and every word. I never felt sleepy. I never dozed off. Big round of applause. Come on. I think we have got one citation to do. Without specs, I'm holding it ulta. My God. Completely blind. Khana khaya. Naresh Kela Sahab, may I invite you? Naresh Kela Sahab, may I invite you to the stage, please? Appreciation. A memento. Please come up, sir. From AISTA for his... Okay.
This gentleman, the young chartered accountant, auditor, he is helping AISTA from 2016, from inceptions, honorary basis. And he was only left to be appreciated. So, and his wish was, because he is a mischievous guy like me, his wish was that he should get trophy from Manisha ji. So, I had make him in a hold. So, Manisha ji, on behalf of AISTA, please honor him. Before I end the session, my last announcement is everyone is requested to collect memories of AISTA with the hands of our sponsor Dhampur Bioorganics. Please go slowly. The pre-function area, door number 1, door number 2 is closed. Only door number 3 is open. So go slowly there. And a last word from Atul Chaturvedi ji, that how can we still improve such conclave. Last word from Atul ji.
I don't have any words. It was a wonderful 2 days, and the icing on the cake was that for almost 2 years we were meeting each other virtually, and this is the first time we are meeting physically, and I must compliment...
Wait, jaiye, please. Thank you.
I must compliment Praful Bhai and the entire AISTA team to have taken the plunge and to have had the courage to have this and to do it so wonderfully well. I am told there was a fight for sponsorship. Huh? There was a fight for sponsorship. In fact, we keep looking around for sponsors, and here in AISTA function there was a fight. And I'm sure you have a very good collection. and hope you will have an office in Delhi soon. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Please sit down. Vote of thanks, Raviji. Raviji, vote of thanks. Thank you.
Just short and sweet. Many, many thanks everybody who participated in the conference, as delegate, as sponsorship, as speakers, as honorary invitees. This conference is absolutely not possible without your being here, without you being contributing to this conference. My special thanks to all the sponsors. On behalf of AISTA, I also thank Renuka Sugars for being the title sponsors. And this year, as Atulji was very, very correctly saying, that we had, array of people who wanted to invest in the conference. And this conference, this time we took a bold decision of having this conferences on invitation basis. So I was wondering that on invitation basis, if we have so much of presence, probably if we had agreed for delegate fee, probably this hall we had to take at least twice or thrice of the size. And this is all possible because you people are around. There are listeners, there are speakers, there are honorary guests. And my special thank to Manisha, that she always comes whenever we need her in AISTA. And her session makes the conference extremely, extremely interesting. And my thanks to all the seniors like Atul Chaturvedi ji for always being there in the conference, and everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Have a safe journey and stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Group photo, please. And after this group photo, I would invite all of you to come. The stage is so big. Let's also do another group photo. So, yeah, it's possible. Everything is possible if your heart says yes. I married that way 35 years ago, and I stayed married. Come on. Quickly, as many as possible can come on the stage. Let's all come as a family. सबके लिए जगह है, आइए. Everybody come. ITC gang, Somnath ji, bring your big boys and come. आइए आइए. Everybody, नाम नहीं लेंगे, सब आइए please. Everybody, जगह हो जाएगा. देखते हैं आइस्टा का स्टेज कितना बड़ा है, जैसे प्रफुल्ल भाई का दिल जैसे. आइए आइए आइए. We'll make place, don't worry. Some of us will sit on the steps, some of us will stand, some of us will make place to take a good big picture. Wow. Come on, everybody. हो जाएगा, जगह हो जाएगा. आप लोग आइए सिर्फ. बन जाएगा. आइए सर. थोड़े आगे, थोड़े पीछे, थोड़े बैठ जाइए. थोड़े एक टांग पे, बट हो जाएगा सबका. Konahak ji, you moved away. Why? Okay, here you go. Come on, superb, let me count. How many of you are there? Who can count? Okay, first an ordinary smile, a very official smile. Yeah, we're bringing the coffee table also. Great. When I say 1, 2, 3, I want a yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay, when I say 1, 2, 3, with your thumbs up, like this in front. 1, 2, 3. When I say 1, 2, 3, somebody will say, Romy, come in the picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go. Everybody give me another yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 3 cheers for AISTA. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. God bless you. Thank you very, very much. Okay.
last but not least, which is a silly mistake which I did. Many thanks to Romy for and he does absolutely a wonderful job. I think I've not seen a MC better than him.
Romy is coming of age now.
And many thanks to Sunny here. Sunny should be around, who took so many thanks to him as well. Thank you everybody. Have a safe flight back. Bye.